You are in Google training, Blackboard training. My name is Megan Safko-Preslin, and I am the IT training administrator for the district. So I train on various applications throughout the whole school year. I train on Dashboard, Blackboard, Google Apps, EasyTech, Apex. I'm sure there's another one, Power School. So there's a whole lot there that I am training on, and I have sessions over at Mayerson. So that's where you kind of want to look to see wherever we can kind of go through. If you find something and you want your team to kind of be involved in this, I am more than willing to come out to your school and help you guys with that setup, and we can kind of do some one-on-one training if you want to do it that way. I'm up for whatever you guys want. My email and my phone number is right up here, and notice I didn't put it on the paper, but it's right up there, so you can write that down. I'm honestly a lot better with email rather than the phone call because I'm in and out of my office a whole lot, but I do have the contact to email all the time. I also have Blackboard training dates right over here already set for July 8th, 9th, and 24th in July. There will be more that are coming. Again, just check Mayerson, and then also Google Apps for Education, July 22nd, 23rd, 12th, 13th, and 14th. Some of those are even in correlation with device tablet training, so if you need more training with the device, you can kind of do it in the morning, and then in the afternoon is Google, or vice versa, I believe. I have it set up that way.
So are those for more beginning or advanced or anything?
They're kind of beginning because we don't have enough time to go through every little detail with Blackboard and Google Apps today. So Stephanie is over from Clark Montessori, and she uses Blackboard. She's going to give you guys some insight into Blackboard and how she uses it within her classroom. And again, we kind of said it's kind of a little appetizer. So kind of showing you a little bit about it and kind of going through that way. Just at a show of hands, how many have ever logged into Blackboard? Okay, all right, good. What about Google? How many have logged into Google? Maybe day 3 you're finally logging in? Okay, all right, yes.
So if there's not enough people that sign up for it, is it going to be canceled? Because I tried to sign up for a couple.
Possibly. There's been some that have been canceled because there's been like 1 or 2 people in there. So I try to put in as many dates as we can to kind of get it situated in there. I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie for Blackboard. Hopefully, I guess I should mention this. You guys should have picked up an item, one of each of these. The first one is Blackboard, and it's just how Stephanie makes it a little bit easier in her classroom. These are all on the Google site for the whole course, or for this retreat. So if you look underneath Tech Integration, you're going to find these documents. And then Google Apps for Education is also another one. It gives you the login, your login. It also gives you the student's login. So that way you can use it that first week in August. The other item that you picked up was a draft of the social media. I know I've been tweeting and I've been Google Plusing while we're here. Just keep in mind the social media rights within a school district. You know, you are a role model for students, and be aware that it is out there and it's the internet. It doesn't go away.
I haven't read it yet, but it's like I have a Twitter account for my classroom.
That's fine.
Am I gonna have to replace it?
No,
Something
it's just all looking at it. It's going to change within, you know, this is just a draft because it's changing within times. Yeah, you're fine. The other one, you guys have these wonderful devices, and you've learned from day 1 till day 3 now. You've learned a little bit more as you guys have gotten acquainted with them. But then you go into your classroom and you're like, oh no. This little tech support gives you a little guide on who to call for any help there. These are you right here. These individuals are the teachers. And then you have a school-based technician, which will be hired here shortly. You have the help desk, which you can always call. AV help, really kind of looking at your items of AV equipment, your projector, things like that. Super users are located within schools. They are trained underneath me with Google and Blackboard and Power School and Grade Cam, I forgot about that one. Instructional coaches, you guys have seen. Tech truck, which is hopefully in the future when a little truck will literally drive up to your school, and then I come out and I say hi, and I say welcome, come on in, and you play around with whatever technology there is, or if you have questions. We're trying to get that into the works because it's a lot easier for me to go to a school and for you to go out during the middle of your plan period and say, oh, I got to ask this question. It's a lot easier. I know that. It's hard to get here after school to Mayerson. So we're trying to incorporate that. We're getting some there. Training administrator, that's me. So I am your training administrator. I do various trainings. And then the technology administrators, there are various ones throughout the building. The help desk have been the tech help desk today. So Google Apps and things like that. So we do have some technology administrators throughout the district. They are there for help as well. Now I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie and kind of give you a little glimpse into Blackboard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Steph Bradford. Hi, I teach at Clark. I've been teaching about 15 years, and I guess Megan invited me because I email her on a regular basis asking her to add Blackboard classes, put these students into Blackboard, etc. Because whenever you need to start a new class, Megan's the person you got to contact. And she said, hey, you seem to use this an awful lot. Why don't you come down and show other teachers how it's done? And I'm happy to do that. I am not by any means like in the last session, I couldn't even log in. So I'm not by any means perfect. I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't use Blackboard to its utmost capacity, but I use it a lot and I love it. Our team uses it, and we've really tried to incorporate it in many different ways into our classes. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of bounce back and forth from the handout to the screen to show you some of the features. As Megan said, this is just an appetizer. It's not a how-to session. I'm just giving you a little bit of glimpse that makes you interested and makes you want to go, hopefully, to one of these trainings so that you can get the ins and outs of how to use Blackboard. I will also tell you that unlike some of my colleagues in this room, there's a big Clark contingent in here, but a lot of these people are techies. You know, Jean's our video person. I feel you are, whether you want to admit it or not. And Tamara, like I go to her for all things Apple, and I am not like them. People don't come to me and ask me tech questions, and I've mastered, for the most part, Blackboard. So I think if you are a little bit more of a novice technology user, hopefully this handout will help you feel a little bit more comfortable with Blackboard and see that you can really use it quite easily in the classroom. So one thing, the biggest mistake that students make at first is they Google Blackboard to find the web address. You can't do that. You got to have the CPS site-specific address, which is at the top of your handout. It's also obviously on the screen. And once you log in, your login information is at the top. Megan says that if you don't know what that school number is, the school number is associated with like Power School and a bunch of different things. You can ask your secretary, or if you just email her, she can hook you up with a new password that's much easier to remember.
Yeah.
So it's up to you, whatever works for you.
And you can always change it once you get into Blackboard.
Yeah. So once you get into Blackboard, then once you log in, you'll see that there's a main menu, and there are classes that you are teaching and classes in which you are a student. Or in which you are enrolled. So these classes are the ones where, you know, I'm in charge of them. And these are ones where I can go to get help or resources. So a lot of this, like the environmental health and safety, I know as a science teacher, we can go in there and do trainings and stuff like that. There's all different kinds of district training resources. Megan can tell you all about those. But this is really what we're going to concentrate on today. Okay, this top menu, which are my classrooms that I use Blackboard in.
And you'll notice like the first part of them right here, these are taken in from Power School. So it comes directly from Power School. You don't have to add your students. These are classes that I created with Stephanie kind of saying, hey, we need this class, we need this class. So we can create classes and they'll stay in there. We just have to physically manually add them and then add the users. So
and I'll tell you why that might be necessary. For instance, this research paper, my English teacher on my team and myself, we did a science research paper this year. We wanted one Blackboard class for that so that we could both log in. Students only had to go to one place for all the stuff instead of going to science and English on Blackboard, they could go to the research paper class and then see everything all at once. We didn't have to upload things to 2 different spots. Our summer homework class, so we have my team has incoming 9th graders this year. So we gave Megan the list because they're not in Power School yet as 9th graders for us. So I gave Megan the list of incoming 8th graders and I said, I want these teachers to have editing access. She did that for us. And now all of our summer homework is on Blackboard. And so like we're training our 9th graders already, our incoming students, to go to Blackboard because our team uses it that much and we want to make sure that they're getting used to it even in the summer. So I'm going to go into my biology class just by clicking on it. And you'll notice here that over on the left-hand side, there's a main menu of choices. You have announcements, course documents, assignments, and help. And then down here is kind of like the user tools. We're not going to really get into these today, but you can do all sorts of fancy stuff with those. Like this background is a DNA molecule. So if you're like me and need to change up things and make it pretty and all that kind of stuff, you can do that there. You can do all sorts of stuff with your tools, which you would get in the Blackboard training, I'm assuming. Okay, so in the announcements section of your handout, the first thing I tell you is that, especially because your kids aren't going to be bringing home their tablets, right? So the first thing that I would have them do is download the Blackboard app. It's free, and what's really great about it is anytime you post an announcement, they get a notification of that announcement. So like in science class, you can see here, Friday, May 16th. We didn't get a chance to finish our in-class average data. So all the groups gave me their data. I did the averages for the class. I posted them to Blackboard, and then they knew that they needed to find the averages on Blackboard. So that notification would have been sent right to their phone if they had the Blackboard app. All right. And so announcements are short little things that you can put in. Again, they could be reminders. They could be, it depends. You said you use Twitter to post your homework. I post my homework here. Okay. Obviously, you can do both, whatever. My colleague, the English teacher on my team, she actually takes a picture of her homework board, and then I think she could upload it to Google Apps to one of her folders, or she uses Dropbox, but I'm trying to give her a little plug there. And then you could link it to your Blackboard that way too. So even in 10th grade, I have parents who say, well, I couldn't get my kid to do their homework because I didn't know what it was. Right here.
The majority of your students are going to have a smartphone. They are, and they're not going to be able to take their netbook home with them. So hey, here it is on your phone. It's right here. So, and I mean, my students obviously did not have a tablet last year, right? I mean, the district hasn't provided that for high schoolers, so we really got them to be using their phone to be checking this for sure. Another announcement type of thing, like for instance, I was telling the last group, I got a study guide done early. I thought I was going to post it on Sunday. I got it done on Friday. So I made an announcement that, hey, it's already up. So you can spend your Friday night doing your biology study guide instead of going to the movies or something like that, right? So, it's just nice for those last little things or the reminders. We had a spring band concert. The band kids had to come in and make up a quiz. I could put a little announcement like that. And so it was really nice. And if they have that notification set up, they're all set. So that's kind of announcements. Are there any questions about those?
I have a question. I've got the Blackboard app thing up. Is there a particular one I choose? There's a Blackboard Learn, a mobile thing, Blackboard.
Be that Blackboard Learn.
And I actually don't have the app. I don't have it, but I just know it because my kids use it all the time.
Does this look familiar, Megan?
It should have like a black background with a big B and a...
It does look familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I was trying to put things on the announcements thing, like, I don't know, for younger grades. I didn't know if you like have an elective schedule, like if you have art day and PE day. I know my sister who has a 10-year-old can't remember what the PE day is. If a teacher would just post what the schedule is, because they have A weeks and B weeks, then she would know when to send Ellie to school with her gym shoes on instead of flip-flops or whatever. So that might be helpful too. Course documents is another area, and this you have to kind of think about a little bit before you go in and start uploading. I highly recommend that you set up your course documents how you would have your students set up their folders or binders in your classroom. So in my classroom, we have a binder system, and I do it by units. I don't have a section for homework. I don't have a section for vocabulary. I don't have a section for notes. When they take a science test, they got to look at all that stuff. They got to look at their vocab. They got to look at their labs. They got to look at their notes. So if they have to go into 3 different sections, it doesn't make sense. They got to pull all this stuff out. It's a mess. It never gets back in the rings, right? So my Blackboard is set up just like their binders are supposed to be set up. You, though, might have, like, you know, if you're an ELA teacher, you might have just vocab quizzes. So a vocab section and a vocab section on Blackboard might be great for you, or a folder, excuse me, on Blackboard might be great for you.
You kind of think of a general rule of the 3-click rule. You don't want your students to click more than 3 times. So you get a folder, and then within that folder, you get another document, and then they're kind of there. So I always generalize with that 3-click rule.
So this is one of my normal, usual everyday folders, the Unit 4 continuity. And if I click on that, you're going to find all the documents that I have given students, provided students, and additional links that they can use. So here are answers to study guides, worksheets, here are rubrics. I've given students all of these in class, but I make no extras anymore. If they need it, they can get it off Blackboard. If they have to print something out, like for instance this rubric, if they have to print it out, they have to see me at lunch to get a printout. I don't make any extra copies anymore. And once you say it 3 times, it's pretty amazing that they just get the hang of it. Like, Steph isn't going to make you extra copies. I'm the meanie on my team, if you couldn't pick up on that. We did DNA extraction. And so I had a movie that I showed in class. Well, if people were absent, they could still see the movie. This is a web link that linked right to the movie that we watched in class. So they could get right to it. I didn't have to give them a long URL. It was great. Other things, I don't think they're there. Other things, and I'm going to show you, let me just navigate real quick to where I need to go. I can't talk and navigate at the same time. Okay. The other thing that I use Blackboard for a lot is audio files. We have a lot of students who either their personal learning style, their best learning style is auditory, or they have accommodations where they are allowed they get read alouds. So I have a seminar piece here that I used Audacity, which is a freeware download that you can get. It's a very user-friendly.
It's a Windows application, which is what your new tablets are.
Yeah. So, or if you have Apple, you can use GarageBand or something like that. You record yourself. So I warn the students it's my horrible voice on the audio. But the benefit of putting it here on Blackboard is then if they have the app, they can listen to that on the bus on the way to school. They can, I've even done vocab exercises, so they have the terms that they can go over on the bus or whatever. Another thing I use it for is that we often do not have enough staff to do the read alouds for tests. So if I'm giving a biology test, we don't have enough IAs or intervention specialists if there are other tests going on that day. So what I do is, again, the night before the test, I read it out loud into Audacity. I upload it here. Your kids will all have tablets. You tell them to bring their earbuds. And on Blackboard, you can set a timer on these documents or these files. You can set a timer saying, only available for this amount of time. So if you know your student is going to be taking that test between 9 and 9:30, you can set that up ahead of time. You don't have to remember to take it off the web or anything. Blackboard does it for you. And so then you don't have to worry about other students getting the test ahead of time or something like that.
Can you just repeat that one more
Sure.
time at the very beginning?
Sure. So if I read the test in Audacity and I do all the file stuff and all that kind of stuff, I upload it to Blackboard. And one of the options when you go to upload, if I click on here, one of the options is you can use a date and a timestamp here. And so you put when it's available and when it's not available. And so if I had 3 students who needed read-alouds during my Bell 3 period, I would only make it available during Bell 3. That way students earlier in the day didn't see it or later in the day didn't see it. I would just tell them, and you know, our students are pretty great. We can trust not to like blab it out to the rest of the world. They would bring their earbuds. They would listen to the test. They can pause. They can repeat. They can go back and forth. No IA needed. So they loved it. They were really happy to use it.
And you can think about that for a substitute too. If you
Oh, yeah.
are going to miss a day and you know it, why not record it? You could even do a video link of it as well and kind of make sure you already have it ready to go and you're not missing that day of instruction, which you might need with all the snow days.
Okay, the last thing I want to show you is the assignment section. So my English teacher on my team, she likes to customize even more than I do. So you can see here, instead of assignments, it says turn in bin, or does it say assessments or assignments?
Assignments.
Okay, it says turn in bin here because she likes to personalize things. And on that turn in bin, the kids uploaded their final papers to Blackboard, and we set this assignment as a safe assign, which is a plagiarism checking program that Blackboard provides for you. And so it will go through and look just for plagiarism with the internet, not like there's not all the books and everything, magazines. But if you go to the second to the last page, what Safe Assign will do for you is they will give you a report of how much of the document that was uploaded matches stuff on the internet. So this was a research paper. You can see there that there was a matching 23% right here. Okay, the kids can also see this report. So we train the kids. I said, okay, should I see some of this? I mean, you have direct quotes in your research paper. So should some of it be matching? Yeah, I would say 30, 40%. If I saw 90%, what's that gonna alert me to? You've copied the whole paper, right? Or you bought it off the internet or whatever. If I only see 3%, you made up the quotes, right? You made it up. You put quotes around things that you thought looked cool. And I mean, I tell the kids that. I'm upfront with them. I'm not gonna, pull any tricks with them. And I make them do that ahead of time. I'm like, and they have to, one of their warm-up questions the next day is, what percent was your matching on your Safe Assign report? So you can also, and you'll be able to do this with Google Docs, you can comment on their papers or their submissions right online, so you don't have to have printouts if you don't want. Which is really, really nice. You just got to, some of your kids, you got to get back in there, to look at their comments and things like that. But during draft things and everything, I don't know how ELA teachers do it. As a science teacher with this research paper, lugging home, our research papers were like 10 pages. To lug home those drafts, oh my gosh. The only thing that saves me is using really cool colored pens. But I didn't have to do the drafts. I could just comment right on the digital forms, which was awesome.
I
Yeah.
have a question. Okay, let's say I'm a student and I write a research paper and I'm looking at, I have 50% of my quotes. That's too much. So now I need to go and edit and I resubmit.
Mhm.
But it's the same paper, only it's resubmitted. Is my percentage going to go up because now my paper is online?
It could, yeah. I think that it very well could. And we also teach them that too. You'll see that it was only their final submission was the Safe Assign. If you saw that, we don't do each draft through Safe Assign because of that very reason. And I think there is something you click off to say this is a final or a draft too. There's an option when you're setting up the assignment that you can say it's a draft. So I think that keeps it from happening.
Right, and you can resubmit it, or you can allow for resubmittals if you want to, or you don't have to. So
and I was going to try to show you, hold on, when you get into your grade center, you can see that, there's all different kinds of, is this do I need to cover up names or anything? But here are all the different assignments we had to submit, but only the very last assignment was the Safe Assign assignment. And you can click on these to go in and see what they submitted, and you can grade them on there. You do have to transfer it to PowerSchool, though. You do have to transfer the grade to PowerSchool.
I know. It's not an upload transfer,
No.
it's a hand transfer.
Correct.
It is a hand one, which is the downfall. Go ahead.
Can you download these to a CSV file? Then
Yes.
you can just
Upload
upload
it.
the CSV file to you don't do it.
Last but not least, I just want to show you our summer homework. What's really nice is that the English teacher, the history teacher, myself, we have a new math teacher on our team. All of our stuff is right here. We all have access to this. So my history teacher is wonderful, but sometimes he does things like he says in his directions that there's going to be a history flashcard template, and then he forgets to put the history flashcard template. Well, he was out of town when students were emailing asking where's the template. So I went ahead and put on this note because we all had access. And so over the summer, it's kind of cool that, you know, all of us can help each other out with that as well. And so, did I miss anything?
I think that was good.
Cool, we're trying to go fast to
Yeah.
get you guys out of here. So,
And the assessments, you do have
but-
assessments within it, and there's tests, there's quizzes, so our students can take those quizzes. There's multiple choice, there's matching, there's short answers, so there
True,
are
false.
tests that would automatically then get graded to save you a little bit of time with that. And I know Stephanie did put some web links into her Blackboard, and that's going to kind of transition into Google Apps with it. And so the web links, if you're using Blackboard, you have to upload your file, your document. Say you want a handout, you want to give a project handout. Instead of making copies, you're going to put it onto Blackboard. Well, if you do it through Google Docs, it's going to save as a website, as a web link. So all you have to do is change it in the Google Doc. It's automatically going to change it into Blackboard. So it takes that step away because these are all web links and Google saves it with a web link. So it saves you that little bit of time, which if you have a project every year, it's the same project, update it in your Google Doc, change the date there. It's going to update automatically on Blackboard to save you a little bit of time.
I know a couple of years ago they were talking about getting like a big share program of online texts through Blackboard. Is that
There are online there's online projects in there or online texts in there. If you went to institution, I went to content collection, and then it's institution content, and then if you went to digital course templates, it's going to be right there. And there are a variety of different, we don't have too many, but there are some AP Psych, English 3-4, government, pre-calc, psychology. Those are some that are already in there. So it literally, you download this template and it takes over your Blackboard page. And I have access to those templates if you guys want to see it before you kind of buy it, if you will, and we can put it into your folder there. So you guys have been sort of using Google throughout the course of the week, maybe. So you just go into google.com. The nice thing about google.com is you can get it anywhere. It doesn't matter what computer you are on, you can grab it. If you are in California and you need something, you can grab it because it's just the internet. It's all internet based, which is nice. I have this set up. If you notice in this right hand corner is kind of where the magic happens. It's wherever you want to go. Right here is your Google+. And again, all of this information is in your is in the little document here. It kind of takes you step by step again because it is a quick little tutorial here. But this is your Google+, and that's your social media. If you do Google+, if you join a community, we can have teachers talking with one another. I know I go to communities. If I just click on there and I go to home, and again, I'm probably not going in the same order as my sheet here, you will see that in communities, you can grab ideas. I'm part of Google Apps for Education community, and people from all over the world will download and say, okay, this is how I used it. I use Google Apps in the Common Core. This is a program that I use, which is really kind of nice. And it gives you a little idea of what can happen in the classroom. So it's really a community to kind of help you guys out. And I know we do have one set up for you guys as teachers called it's the CPS Digital Age Learning. So it's this one right here. And if you just click on it, you're going to get into there and you can kind of start becoming a member of this one. So that's Google Plus really in a nutshell. The other aspect right here, this little guy, this app grid is what we call it, is going to give you into all the different apps. These are your main ones. I believe they started, Google changes it from time to time, so they will kind of update things. But you can also go to more if you don't see whatever you're looking for. There's apps in there, like GeoGebra is one of those apps. There are other apps that can read it for you and listen for translation, and that information kind of is given in a Google Doc, which I can kind of go through at a later date. But this is where your drive is. This whole retreat got created on a Google Doc. We shared a folder. So my advice, if you want to share a folder with your students, put everything in that folder for the year or for the quarter and have it shared once, and you don't have to share it again. So for example, you'll see different folders in here. So I have a whole lot of different folders, and I can see that this one is bolded. Well, that just means that somebody shared something or somebody updated something in that folder, so it tells me automatically, hey, you should go look at it. So we have different kind of folders here, and you can find them right here where it says shared with me. That's going to be where all your folders that have been shared with you are going to be. So you can see all the different ones right here. Google Apps user guides, that's in there. That's a suggestion to do with your students. Create a folder and share it. How do I do that? Well, I go to create and I go to folder, and this is how you share it with everybody. So if you wanted to share a document, a presentation, spreadsheet, these are all kind of your Word formats. So this is your Word, this is your PowerPoint, this is your Excel. Form is really awesome. It's a great little survey. If you want an entrance slip into the class, you create a form. It's a little survey. It creates it into an automatic Excel sheet or kind of a spreadsheet. So you have that data, which I can go into. So if we're sharing something, I'm going to create a folder and I'm just going to call it sample. Google automatically saves it. Awesome for students, but not so awesome when you forget to name items. Make sure you name something immediately, because otherwise you're going to end up with a whole lot of untitled documents in your folder. So make sure you put a name on it. That's the one thing I tell students immediately. Put a name on it. So you can see that my sample folder has been created. If I just simply click on it, I can go to this little guy right here, and I'm going to say share folder. And then I give my access. Here's my change if I want it public on the web, which I probably wouldn't recommend. Anyone with a link, so if somebody doesn't have Google, they can sign in and they can still see it. They don't have to sign in, sorry, the no sign in. Cincinnati Public Schools, within whomever it might be with here. I usually tend to stick people just right here with the specific people just because I don't want my information getting out. And then I save it however I want to do it. And then I start to invite people. So I can say, I'm going to invite Christine Shields, who's one of our Google reps within the district. She can edit, so I change right here, edit or view. Can she view this folder or can she make changes in it? I'm going to say, yeah, she can make changes. Your students, you might want to just say they can view it. And then you're going to send it, and then they'll be shared. The other thing that you want to, if you have documents, if I go into my digital learning team and I have a document and I say, I'm going to share it. Actually, let me just do my sample one here. Submitting an assignment. So if I have this and I go into share right here, I can then share it with whomever. I can see who has it. If I want to change that, if I just want my students to comment on something, maybe we didn't have time to do a presentation, so they're just going to comment on something. I'm going to say, hey, for homework, you need to make 3 comments. You can do it right there. You can edit it, they can view it. Sending an item out to parents, have them view it. If you want to show something through Blackboard to your parents, have them just view it so they can't edit it. What we mean by edit, it means that they can control what is being seen in your document. So if I have my, I don't know, I just go into lots of different things here. Applications, Blackboard, I know we have elementary super users here. So if we go here, I can share just a document. So I shared it with 4 people. I can go right here and I can see who's there. I can edit it. You can then see, I had a different one, who comments on it. So I can add a comment right there. Right in up here, comment. This is great. Again, if you want students to turn in papers this way, you can comment it that way. You can then see the comments right there. If you have a group work, you know there's always one poor child that is spent there doing all the work, right? There's always one. I feel bad for them, but they're always the one doing the work. You can go in to see who did the work. So if you went to File and you go to See Revision History, you're going to find out who did what at what time. If you have a deadline of 12:59, I'm sure there's going to be people in there at 12:58. So you can go in there and then you can actually say, okay, I want to restore this revision. And you're going to restore it to what it was before. So you can go in and see that. So that's really nice for students to be able to kind of go through it. Questions on sharing? Yeah.
Now, will the, like, for example, will your classes be, will they already be
Loaded?
loaded and ready to go when you, like, so if I've got 7th grade specific, 8th grade specific, they're only going to be on one drive folder, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I don't have to do that.
you would have to do that.
Okay.
So
I
you
have to like pull in.
So what was recommended was that maybe you have the students email you, share a folder, so you don't have to. We're working on perfecting it. Right now, if I went in and said share, I have to type in all of those email addresses. Yeah, I can do it, and sometimes I go in and I say, okay, I'm gonna cut and paste this part of it, the CPS BOE, because you do have to include that, but once you do it once, you can kind of put it in there. Another suggestion, cut and paste this link into an email, and then they'll get it, and then it'll automatically get into their drive. So if you say, okay, students, I have a folder, send it through GroupWise as opposed to going through Google to make it a little bit easier if they're emails. Or if you're colleagues.
All right. So if I were to, like, so I had my whole 7th grade, just because I teach 2 completely different.
Okay.
So I needed to send something just to my 7th graders. So I would have all of their, I would just take all of their email, keep them as like as a group on GroupWise, send them that link, and then they'd be.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So then you don't have to write them down each and every time.
Okay.
And you can always go back and change. If you don't want them to edit something, you can go back and change that description right there. The other item that I was going to show you was a form. Forms are great. You can see that I have some super users here and I have different forms. So in order for them to track their hours, I gave them a form, and this is what a form would look like when it's done. So I'm going to just view live form. They can go in, you can even do this as an exit slip, discipline across the board, a walkthrough if you wanted to do it that way. And then it creates, so then I put in all the schools, they can jot it down. It automatically creates a spreadsheet. And then you're given this information. You can then look at a summary of responses. So it's an immediate feedback, a little data for your SLO. So it's a very quick little idea right there. Again, save it as a web link. You can then put it into your Blackboard and then you're given it there.
And you said it changes every time.
Yep, anytime if I edit it,
in Blackboard.
it'll change automatically because it's saved as a web link. How many have heard of tinyurl.com? Okay, there are other ones as well on the very back page. It just shortens that long email address up here into something a little bit easier for maybe your parents. So even your Blackboard page, if you want to give your Blackboard page a different name, you can do it there. If you want to do it kind of in that kind of going in there, it'll just shorten it. It's just making it a little bit easier for your students. If you want them daily to have a form, you know, write out the URL and you can shorten it, change that every day. The web address doesn't change, so they have it that way. I know I went through other things and I just can't remember whatever else you want to know. This little guy, this little notifications, it just goes into showing if whoever was writing on my Google+. If you want to change that, that's through your settings in Google+ as well. You can create, the only thing with Google+ isn't recommended for 13 and under, so you probably have that little kind of area right there.
You showed calendars.
Calendars. Thank you. Calendars. Great thing to do with your students saying, hey, I don't know when this is due. Well, guess what? You can put it in a calendar. You can share your calendar to your students. So then they have it in their Google. So they get kind of a Google email and then they can get updates on it. You can put in, hey, I need, you know, test homework is due, test corrections are due, this test is due, it's this date. You can have that information in there. And it's really great. I tell you kind of word for word how to share a folder. So you can kind of look at it there, or share a calendar, sorry. Sites. You guys have been going to the site that we have created, hopefully? Maybe? Again, it's that app grid that gets you to a lot of places. If I go to my collab, I can see the tech integration. That's where you're going to find this information all right here. Have your students make a portfolio. You can use sites. They can upload items. So if you want to have a research page, maybe you have it do this way instead of Blackboard. It's really up to whatever you want to do. Blackboard is using colleges, so maybe you want to adapt them to the colleges. There's tools for different uses. I can't say, hey, go use Google, or, oh, you only can use Blackboard. It's totally up to you. It's whatever is to your liking. It's whatever is different. It's a learning management system is Blackboard, as opposed to Google is really about collaboration. So if your students are collaborating, you're collaborating with you know, a group of people. If you have a group project, your students don't have to be in the same room to do the group project. They can all do it on their own. They can download Google Drive to their phone and they can access it that way because they're not taking their devices home. So that's one way to kind of look at it. Blackboard is really the learning management system, which is kind of how they get incorporated into colleges. I know a lot of colleges use Blackboard, so that can be a stepping stone for them as they grow and they leave you. By the time that they're seniors, they're going to know exactly what to do. Questions? Yes?
How did you get to the Google Plus site? I can't find it.
I went to, so if you're in, also notice that in Google, every time you open like a document or something, it's going to open up a new page because it's a new web page. I just was right here in my Google Drive and I just went right here to my name, or it's going to be plus you.
Before that,
Before that.
like, how did you?
How did I log in?
Well, okay, go back to the screen that you had. Right, so
This one?
what's that Google Plus and Google Search? Because I have the
Google Plus is the same thing as if I click my name. It's going to bring you to that same menu. It's going to be your social feed. So here's all of my little communities that I'm a part of. It gives up into kind of an idea of where it's at. I can click there, or I can click on my actual name right there.
The big blue G should take me to.
A Google search. So it's just going to take you to Google.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, there are more right here. And Google is creating more and more apps to incorporate into your browsers and kind of websites, really. Matt, got something?
No, I was going to ask why, but I imagine I think I already know this because of the Java. But I was say why can't you use the Google interface
Like a Chromebook.
yeah, Chromebook?
It's the Java.
Java.
It doesn't work with Alex, and it doesn't work a little bit with Blackboard, and it doesn't work with PowerSchool. So those are the main ones. Any other questions? I am here if you guys need to email me or anything like that. If you want to try something out in your classroom during the fall and you're a little apprehensive about it, let me know. It's really nerve-wracking going into a classroom and not knowing how it's going to happen. So if you want me there in the back, I can more than happy to be there in the back. If you want me to walk around and make sure they're, it's nice to have a second set of hands in the classroom. So feel free to call me up, email me, let me know if you have problems, if you have questions. I'm going to be here, until the end of the day as well. So I know there's a feedback session or something later on this afternoon that we can kind of talk through too. So feel free to ask me questions, email me. The training dates, again, there's some here, but there will be more as we continue to go and build a little bit more as we go. And Blackboard is going to, I'll kind of have there's different ones. So each of these dates, there's assessments, kind of looking thoroughly at assessments, which are your, all your multiple choice things. So kind of looking at it that way. Yes.
I know we're coming to July 8th, so in order for it to not get canceled, if that's a good date for you and you want to come, please.
It won't get canceled.
Okay.
These are the actual Learn 21 Blackboard people are going to come to those. So they'll be there. I don't have anything else. If you guys don't have anything else, I'm here, so feel free to, if you have a question, just one-on-one, feel free to come on up and, I'll answer it and kind of go from there.